and watch our class today. Again, today we're talking about more modals. We're talking about recommendation or advice and necessity. So let's do a quick review. Well, we're going to take a few minutes to review the modals that we've learned so far. So let's start with what does the word modal mean? To remember.
That's use is mode. That's the way, and this the way. That's the yes. That's I remember. It's the way.
Okay.
Yes.
The
And
mode
this is the
is
follow
the way.
way.
Yeah. Oh, Sarah, you watch every video. Thank you. That makes me feel really good.
That's
Just keep
helpful.
an eye on it.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. I'm glad. If one student says it is helpful, then I will keep doing it. I'll keep doing it.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, let's come back to this. I got distracted by the chat, but let's come back to our review of modals. So the word mode means the way, and modal verb. Modal describes this special kind of verb that tells us the way something happens. It gives us more information about the situation or the feeling behind the verb. Maybe the way or the intention that somebody has when they are speaking. That information is shared in the modal. Modals are always used with a verb. What is a verb?
Action.
An action, right? So when we use a modal, we're giving extra information about the action of the sentence, the verb of the sentence. We have many different modals that can express those different ways, those different situations. We've talked about most of these today, and we'll talk about, or most of these before today, and we'll do the rest today. But modals can give us information about ability, permission, request, possibility, recommendation, necessity, if something is needed or not needed. And then you can see here, oh, did I skip? There's request right here. We can see here that one modal can have many different meanings, many different ways to use it. And we also have where for one meaning, we have different options of modals that we can use. So for permission, we could use can I, could I, and may I. So this means that learning modals can be a little bit complicated because there's so many of them. They do different things. Sometimes one does more than one thing. It can be a lot to keep track of. Typically, when we study modals, we talk about the, not the individual word, but we talk about permission and that meaning or that experience that we're trying to communicate. So last week, we learned some different modals and we started with modals of ability. Excuse me. Okay, we started with modals of ability. Can, could, and be able to. Can and be able to, we can use in the present or future tense. We use could for past ability. We can also use be able to for past ability. And for the most part, can and be able to have the same meaning. There are some situations where we would use one instead of the other, especially in the negative or question form. But let's come up with a couple of example sentences for these modals of ability. Do you have any good example sentences?
I can speak English now.
Very good. I can speak English now.
I could speak English before. 1 year.
I could,
Couldn't.
couldn't. There's the negative, couldn't. Maybe last month
Last
isn't
year.
totally accurate.
That's
We'll
year.
say
Vanessa,
last year.
I have read that we cannot use code in a negative sense. Is it?
You can't?
Even the paper, the slides which you have sent, even this thing was written in that also.
For ability in the past.
In your attachment. Couldn't we use in negative sense?
I think for the possibility you can't use.
I think what
Oh, for possibility.
Yeah, for the ability you can use, I think.
Okay, let me pull up that resource that has everything in one place, because that will be a good thing for us to look back on as we go through this class. And that's one reason why these modals are so tricky, because the present, like the simple affirmative sentences, they are pretty straightforward. But when we get into some of the negative and the question form, then things get a little more complicated. So let's look at this page together. This is linked on the class website. It's part of the papers from our class on Tuesday of last week. Wait a minute, why am I drawing on the screen? Hold on a sec. All right, so let's come down here to ability. Oh, this doesn't give us negative information, which there's no exceptions, which means that it's not noted here as an exception. So it's okay to use the past could in the past. It's just the past form of the modal can and can't, could and couldn't for the past. We talked about possibility.
Please
Yeah,
scroll.
this you can't.
Please scroll down. Other way. Yes, please. Please, other way.
Oh, this way?
Yes.
Okay. Here is the possibility. Possibility.
It's not possible.
Yes, it is written. Could is not
Mhm.
used with the negative sentence to show possibility.
Possibility, right.
Because that is not possible. Using in
And this would
but then
not
for
be,
the,
go ahead.
yeah, for the ability, it's okay, right?
It is okay, yes, for ability.
Can you give example that where we cannot use could not? How
When we
possible?
use could not, it
Yes,
can express that past.
possibility with in positive sentence with the could, and where we cannot use could not.
Okay.
Fly late.
Yeah.
They say.
You could go to Indiana if you want to. You could go to Indiana. It's possible.
If I say you couldn't go to Indiana without a car, then what is negative there?
So when we use could not, that sentence is grammatically correct, but it has a different meaning. Could not is used to show that something is impossible. So it's not a lack, it's not that it's impossible, that it's not possible.
Is it not a possibility that if I say you couldn't go, you are new, because you are new, you couldn't go without me, then is it not a matter of possibility?
No, is meant to show that it is like, it's so impossible that it has a different meaning. Let me show you on, hold on, let me show you somewhere else. Let me pull up this other document from, hold on, I changed my screen. What happened to my screen? Okay, this whole question started because we're talking about the modals of ability. And this is somebody's skill or knowledge to do a specific task. So using could not can express lack of ability from the past. I couldn't speak Spanish 5 years ago. I couldn't, but I went to school, I learned, I practiced. Now I can speak Spanish. All right, this is tricky because we use the same words to express these different meanings. Let's look at modals of asking for permission. Usually we ask for permission for ourselves to be able to do something, to take an action that we want to take. So may I, can I, and could I? What is the difference between these three modals?
It's informal and formal.
Right. It moves from more formal, may I go to the restroom, to less formal. Could I use your restroom?
No, the could in the middle, you told me.
Oh, can and could are like really close together. So on this page, they're out of order, but can and could are very close together.
Okay.
I would use them interchangeably. Maybe can is for your very close friends or something. Okay, asking for permission is asking for you to do something. And we also talked last class about making a request. Making a request. This is asking for someone else to do something. What is an example of a request you might have?
Would you, could you, can you?
Mm-hmm.
Would you please open the door? Would you please open the door?
Okay.
Can you? Yeah. Can you open
And
the door
can
for
you?
me? Yeah.
Okay, that's a great example. Making a request, you're asking for help in this case, right? To open the door. So would is considered more polite. It's a little bit more formal. We can add please to any of these sentences to make them more polite as well. Can is not impolite, but it's definitely less formal and less polite than the other ones. A lot of times with these questions, and especially the word can, it's going to also be impacted, you know, polite and impolite by your face and your smile. If you're making a request, you want someone else to do something and to do something for you. That, or even the tone of your voice. Open the door for me. Can you open the door for me? Versus, would you open the door for me? Is a little bit more friendly, right? So we can express a lot of meaning, not just in the modal that we choose, but also the sound of our voice and how we interact with other people. That's true all the time. But when making a request, I think it's especially true. All right. We talked about one more modal last week, which was making a deduction using must. What does it mean, making deductions?
It's the different truth and the different, how to say, and then you out all of them, that's your left one.
Like, for example, you must do it. Means without saying the whole thing, we are just use the must word.
All right.
Not like that. Like you have the car, you have the house. That's when you must reach like that.
Okay, so making a deduction means looking at the available information and finding an idea
Yes.
from
Yeah,
that.
so that's the information.
We do use must for other situations. We're going to talk about necessity later today. But must for making a deduction means we look at what's available and we come up with an idea based on that information. So for this picture here, for example, we see a city, there's a bus, and we see these people here running to catch the bus. So what do we know based on that information?
That means they are late. They hurry.
They must be late, right?
Yeah.
If they're running to the bus.
But
They must
even
be in
this,
city.
oh, sorry. Even this use a must, there's still the possibility, right?
There's in making a deduction, we're not 100% sure on something. We're looking at the information available to us, and we come up with an idea that makes sense based on that information.
It's still possible.
So deductions are not truth. It's as close to the truth as we can
Yes,
find.
that's like we guess.
It's like a guess, yeah.
Imagination.
Sometimes we have to use a little imagination, and we pull from past experience that we had, or you might imagine like this person here looks like she has some business clothes on. This man here, he's got jeans and a shirt, and this looks like a student with a backpack on. So maybe we're using our imagination to tell the story a little bit about why they are late or how they got to this situation in the first place. All right, let's look at another picture and make a deduction based on this picture.
Birthday. They have the cake, they have the candle, that's sure is a birthday. Yeah.
All right, so let's turn that idea into a sentence using must.
She must have birthday party.
Yeah, she must have a birthday party, right? We see the candles on a cake,
Yeah,
right?
cake.
So it must be her birthday today.
Yeah.
Must be her birthday.
11 birthday.
How many?
11 birthday. I count 11 candles.
12.
Okay.
12.
12?
Yeah.
I don't know. 11th or 12th.
Yes, 12.
I think there's two hiding right
12.
there. Okay.
Yes, 12.
All right. So we make a deduction. Oh, go ahead.
She must blow out the candles right now.
Yeah.
It's ready for, yeah.
Otherwise we'll have wax on the cake and nobody wants to eat wax on the cake. All right, let's look at one more for making deductions.
It's must on the zoo.
She must be in a zoo.
Yeah.
She must be feeding a giraffe.
Yeah, she feed the jerk.
Who is she feeding?
Suddenly forget the name.
She must be feeding the giraffe.
Giraffe. Yeah.
Giraffe.
Giraffe.
It's pretty close. I mean, maybe she's feeding herself, but I think she's feeding the giraffe. All right.
All right. Not afraid to feed in giraffe.
There's a good negative sentence. She
must
not be afraid. Yeah. Okay.
She might be fun.
Let's say she must be
Happy.
having fun.
Being fun. Oh, sorry.
She must be having fun.
Or happy.
She's got a smile on her face. Yeah, she must be happy. All right. All right, so we're going to keep going. We're going to learn a few more modals today. This is the last day for modals, and then we'll do a quick quiz on Thursday's class as well. Today we're going to learn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more modals to express 2 different situations. We're going to start with advice, modals for advice. Advice is sharing your idea about someone else's situation. We use the modal should most commonly to share what I think you should do with your life. You should take a break. You should go to Indiana. That's my idea about your life or your situation. We can use should in the negative and positive. You should take a break and get some rest. He shouldn't smoke so much. This is used in the present tense. We can also use should in the past tense as well for the past. You should have called me. You shouldn't have dropped out of school. In the past advice, we're looking back at what happened and trying to give advice again. It doesn't change the situation. But to give this past advice, we actually use should have, and shouldn't have. We're not really going to practice with should have and shouldn't have today, but that's another way to use this modal to express that advice that didn't happen but should have happened. To give advice, we also use the modal ought to. Ought to. This one is a little bit less common. I think in American English especially, ought to. It is usually used in these very formal situations or very serious situations. It's not just about advice about what I think, but this is advice based on like some bigger idea behind us. Could be the law or could be a religious conviction. Ought to. And we don't use in the negative in American English. You ought to call your mother more often. Ought to. We can also use had better to give advice. Had better. We'll use had better and the base form of a verb. Don't forget that verb to give advice. In this situation, had better is used to really, in a very strong kind of way. Had better is used to show that there's something bad is going to happen when you don't follow the advice. This shows that consequence if the advice is not followed. You had better pay your taxes on time. You'd better pay your taxes on time. When you don't pay your taxes on time, you have to pay more. You had better obey the rules. You had better obey the rules. If you don't obey the rules, bad things can happen. She had better not cheat on her exam. This isn't just my opinion. This is the rule, and I want you to follow the rule. Don't cheat on your exam. Should, ought to, and had better. All right. Should and ought to, for the most part, have the same meaning, but actually they do have the same meaning. Should is going to be more common for American English speakers. When American English speakers say ought to, it sounds like oughta, oughta. I oughta do the laundry. You oughta do the laundry. And the modal should has the same meaning. I should do the laundry. You should do the laundry. Should and ought to have that same meaning, except that should is probably just more common.
The should, the advice, they equal recommend, because you just show me the form, they are inside no advice. They only.
Can you say it again?
Okay, you just show there say permission, recommended, and ability. They are inside no advice, and the advice equal the recommend, right?
Okay, yeah. We go back to this chart from the beginning.
Yes, they are
okay.
inside no advice.
Yeah. On this handout, it doesn't say advice. It uses recommendation.
That's the same.
Okay. Yes and no. It's the same enough. We
Okay,
use
when you see advice, that's equal recommendation, right?
On this chart, yeah, we'll use should is that recommendation, and ought to
recommendation.
There are many different modals in English, and some teachers in some books will choose this number to study or this amount to study, and so sometimes we get different lists kind of organized in a different way, but it's all there. It's just organized a little bit differently.
Okay, if we see advice, that means the recommendation. Okay.
Advice is recommendation, right?
Okay, this is easy for us.
And then because it came up earlier in our discussion about could, we also use could for recommendation or for advice. Yeah. All right. So should and ought to essentially have the same meaning. You'll often hear oughta instead of ought to.
Okay.
I oughta do the laundry. Had better is used to give advice, but it's very strong advice. This is to say, you don't really have the choice, because if you don't listen to my advice, something bad is going to happen. We often use had better to give a warning or a strong recommendation, or even a threat. In the case of the parent and the child, you can imagine the tense situation here, right? This is advice, but you have to listen to the advice. You had better listen to my advice. You had better do your homework, or no video games for a week. There's not quite the recommendation, maybe a little bit more of a threat there, right? Okay. Let's pause there. I've been doing a lot of talking today. I'm very sorry. What questions do you have about should, ought to, and had better?
Yeah, you use had better for past?
Good question. we see had, right? Had. Even though this is had, it is not past tense. This is for a present tense situation.
And future?
This would be used, so to give advice is used for present situations, present and future situations. So tomorrow you had better do your homework, right? There's my recommendation for tomorrow, my strong recommendation. So we can change it's not going to change the tense necessarily because we're not changing the main verb of the sentence, but it can be used to express that possibility, that advice in the future situation. You should go to bed early. Well, it's 10 a.m. I'm not going to bed now. You should go to bed early means tonight, in the future, tonight.
And after should have, you use past participle or past form of the verb?
That's a great question, and something that we're not going to practice with should have. It will use the past participle. This is not quite a modal of advice, but I've heard it called a modal for regret. This is the past situation that didn't happen. We use should have and the past participle. So should have called, should have gone, shouldn't have dropped, shouldn't have slept in until 10 o'clock.
Thank you.
Yeah, good questions. Thank you for asking. All right, let's go into our breakout rooms. We're going to do a couple of practices together in our small groups. I'll put this link in the chat for you. All right, the link is in the chat. And I will show you what we're going to do. All right. We're going to practice with should, ought to, and had better. We'll come down here to practice number 23, 24, and 25, and work on these together with your group. 23, 24, and 25. One student will share their screen. It's not necessary to write on the screen unless you have the ability to do that, because in 23, this is a whole sentence. But you can just talk about your answers together. If you have a question, you can come up to the lesson here and review the rules for using should and ought to and had better. So for our groups today, I'm going to change the groups because we've had new students join. So I want to make some smaller groups again. Let's see. All right. The link is in the chat. If you have any questions or problems, send me a message. I'll come and join and answer your questions. Other than that, though, have fun.
Okay, I can share the screen now. Maybe. That's it lah. Okay, wait a few minutes, okay. Oh my goodness. Where is gone my home? Teacher, can you send me the new link? Everything is gone. I don't know where is it, my link. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
My goodness. What happened? You can see?
No,
You can see?
no,
No,
Oh my goodness.
No, I
no,
can't. Let
Emily,
me,
no.
I can share my screen with this group so that you guys can.
I don't know what
started.
happened.
I don't know either. That's okay. All right, we'll come down here for 23. I'm just going to sit back, but let me know if you want to look up at the explanation.
Okay. She doesn't do her homework. She should do her homework. Okay. She go out with her friend every night. She should.
she shouldn't.
She shouldn't.
She shouldn't. Yeah, she shouldn't.
She shouldn't with her friend
Every night.
every night. And how about number
She
3?
should,
Yeah,
she,
me.
yeah, she shouldn't never, or I think, yeah, she shouldn't never go to the gym.
No, she should
Or
go.
She should. This is negative.
yeah, never. Yeah, yes, she should. Yeah,
She
she should
go
go
to
to the gym.
the gym.
Yes.
And
Number 4, me. She
She shouldn't always, or she shouldn't eat out.
your turn. You no. She need
Always eat out.
number 4. Yeah, Zara. Your turn.
Number 5.
Number
Okay.
4.
Number 4. She always eats out. She shouldn't eat out.
And me. She drink a lot of coffee. She shouldn't drink a lot of coffee.
She should drink a lot of coffee. Oh, she should drink. Sorry, she should.
Number 6.
Okay.
Voila, your turn.
Okay. Stay out. Dance parties all night. She shouldn't stay out at dance parties all night.
Your turn, Zara.
She wears dirty shoes inside the house. She shouldn't wear dirty shoes inside the house.
Me. She stay in bed until noon on weekend. She shouldn't stay in bed until noon on weekend.
Yeah.
And your turn, voila.
Okay. She lends her car to her friends. I think she should.
She shouldn't.
Or what?
She shouldn't.
She shouldn't lend her car to her friends.
She spends all her money on clothes and makeup. So she shouldn't spend all her money on clothes and makeup.
And then you, teacher, you can scroll up, please. 24. Benny
Eat less.
Benny is overweight and he is not feeling well. He eat, smoke, and walk too much. Use had better or had better not with the word in parentheses to give him strong advice. You had better eat less and drink a lot of soft drink. You had better not drink a lot of soft drink.
No, maybe you had better drink a lot
Better.
of soft. Yeah, because of soft drinks.
Okay. Okay. Number 3.
Drink too much coffee.
Mhm.
You had better not drink too much coffee.
Mhm.
You had, yeah. And get more exercise. You had better get more exercise.
Mhm. Use less salt. Yeah, uh, you have better use less salt.
Yeah.
Eat lots of snacks. You have better not eat lots of snacks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Work overtime often. You had better not work overtime often.
Mm-hmm. See a doctor. You have better see a doctor. And 25, teacher, please. Scroll down. 25. Example, what do you think? What is your advice for Benny? He better lose some weight, and um he better he better lose some weight. Better,
Work hard and
he
have a job.
better he better not smoking.
Yes.
Yeah, he better walk.
What did this mean?
He better walk over time.
What did you
He
eat?
better not walk over time of.
Open your mouth. What is this? Okay.
And then your you can you can say what is your advice for Benny.
No. Online. Sarah, quickly.
Yeah, he'd better
Give me this.
eat healthy food.
Don't eat anything in the floor.
Uh-huh. He better not drink too much coffee, right?
Yeah.
Then he better get more exercise, and then
He'd better eat vegetables.
he better use less salt. And here, then we need to do 26 or no?
You can stop there, and I'm going to close the breakout rooms. We'll go back into the main room in a minute, and we'll take our break for the day because it's already
Okay.
9 o'clock.
Thank you, teacher.
You're welcome. All right, we'll give another few seconds for everyone else to join. But actually, we're going to take our break for the day. So it is 11 o'clock. Let's come back in about 5 minutes.
Okay.
Come back in about 5 minutes and we'll continue with more modals.
And teacher, yesterday I was too busy. You know, I don't have baby sister, so I can go to for the post test. I think I will make appointment again next Wednesday or something. But my husband just now they are too busy. He need to walking a mandatory every time, so I don't have put
Okay.
worry my daughter. That's why I
Okay.
can't.
Would you like to do it online?
Online is okay, but no, with my daughter is no too too much confusing. So I think I will find the where can I put in my friend
Okay.
house or something. That's one.
Okay.
I let them know again.
Okay. So the day for the test is Monday and Wednesday, and any of those times at 9, 9:30, 10, and 10:30. 1 to 5:36 or 6:30. So
Okay,
just
I
let me
will.
know which day.
Okay, okay, I will send message again. Okay,
Okay.
I'm
Sounds
so
good.
sorry for that.
It's okay. It happens.
Where the teacher? Can you hear me? Oops. Hong, can
Yes.
you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
What? Where the Vanessa?
They are break. 5 minutes.
Oh, we are break.
Yes.
Oh, okay, sorry. No, sorry.
I see you home. What are you doing?
I'm busy.
I see you, your hand.
The girl name where I can find our classmates name.
Who? You
You
find
the short hair the girl, the Japanese girl.
I
What's
think
her?
who is this? Kasumi? You find
The Japanese girl.
Japanica. Oh, Yusuf.
You with the what's the how spell her name?
You wait a few minutes. I find the
Yes, you give me the name. I only know why you and then the other thing I forgot.
you and then the last name is ITO or LTO.
YUITO together or you have the common?
No, and then you need to the space.
You have common? Why you have common?
Yeah, you need to YU is first name and then ITO is the last name. Yusuf.
ITO.
No, LTO.
ITO.
LTO.
LTO.
It's
Yeah.
I. It's letter I.
Oh,
sorry.
okay. I send you the message. You can read.
Okay.
Without teacher read.
All right. Speaking of you, let's all come back. Everyone all together. Come back to your screen. Let's continue with our class this morning.
I just invite you send the message home?
Yes.
Just like by Christmas, everyone pay $20 by Christmas gift. Yeah, that's this. I am 100%. I am agree.
Yeah, that's you gave the name. I just asked you her name because I don't know the people how to do. I don't know how to do. But you connect to her and just send her the money, maybe from people or something.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, let's just put her people maybe in the chart that we can send her.
Okay.
Because I don't know how to do that about the money.
All right, let's continue with our class. I don't know what's going on. Y'all can figure that out
Yes, I say
in
you
your
don't
own
need
time.
Don't tell teacher, okay? This is our secret.
Okay.
Yes, you don't need to read.
Top secret.
Okay. Top secret event. All right. So speaking of exciting announcements, Ellie was not in class last Thursday because something exciting happened. Ellie, what happened?
I won the I passed the I got the license.
She got her driver's license.
Oh, congratulations.
Congratulations, Ellie.
Thank you. I'm really nervous, but finally I got.
Yeah, good. I don't know if you can see on your screen, but some students have shared the reaction emojis to show how excited they are for you. If we were together in class, it would be much more exciting, but we're happy to celebrate with you. Congratulations again.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. All right, where were we? We are talking about modals. So for giving advice, should, shouldn't, ought to, and had better. I listened to one of the breakout rooms and their discussion with the exercises 23, 24, and 25. And I thought that group did a really great job. All of the answers are on the class website, and there are some exercises there we didn't do, so you can check your answers for homework or do those exercises again quickly for homework and check the answers, and then complete the rest of the exercises as well for homework. There's one more modal situation we need to talk about, and then we're going to take some time to review all of the modals that we've done together. We reviewed a little bit at the beginning, but we'll review a little bit here at the end too. So the last situation we should talk about is necessity. Necessity or lack of necessity. What does the word necessity mean?
Must.
Okay, it means must. Necessity really means need. Need. Mhm. So something needs to happen. It must happen. We have a different level and different degree of necessity. Must is really for that like 100%. Something must happen. You must go to, I don't know,
School.
where do you have to go? You must go to school. When you are a child, you must go to school. We use must for that like 100% obligation. There's really no option. There's no choice there. That is necessity. Following the law. You must follow the law. You must obey the rules of your community. Have to and have got to are also used to show necessity. We use have to and have got to that are a little bit more friendly, a little bit more of a friendly situation. You have to try Quill's coffee. It's so delicious. You have to try the coffee. It's not the law to drink the coffee, but it's so good. It's like my advice, but even more than advice, it's going to change your life. You have to. Have got to carries a little more weight behind it. It's a little bit stronger to show that something is really important or necessary. Have to, have got to, and must are our modals for necessity. For a negative situation, a lack of necessity, we can only use don't have to. Don't have to. Have to, have got to are the, actually, I guess we have a different one there too. Have to and have got to are in the positive necessity. Don't have to is lack of necessity. Must means 100%. We can also use the negative must not. Must not means 100% no. So we have our necessity and lack of necessity. Another little pronunciation tip, you'll often hear native speakers say have to. You have to try Sunnergoss coffee. Oh, Quill's coffee. Well, both. You have to try it. You have gotta. Have got to. Have gotta. You have gotta try Quill's coffee. All right. Let's take a look at this document. I'll share the link in the chat. We'll take a look together as well.
Vanessa, I have a question.
Yes.
There is a got. Got is past tense, but it's not mean past
Right.
present tense, right?
So with modal verbs, we generally don't change the modal. The modal stays the same no matter what. We can use modals to talk about different times, past, present, and future, but we don't change the modal to do that. Instead, we add yesterday or tomorrow. For can and could, we use a different word altogether to show past tense. But we've seen today with had better, have to, have got to, even though these words are in the past, like had better, got, have got to, these are not for past tense. So we're not going to change the tense of these terms. These are all talking about the present time.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Good question. I'm glad you caught that. It's a good attention to detail. With our modal verbs, we never want to, well, I can't say that. We can change have to had to. I had to go to the store yesterday. I'm too busy today. This is that necessity about yesterday. I had to go yesterday. But have got to, we're not going to change got. So we use have to talk about necessity. I have to work. She has to work. They have to work. We can add do not to make it negative, and we can use the contraction. You don't have to work. She doesn't have to work. We don't have to work. All right. We can use have to in the past by changing it to had. With our modal have got to, we're not going to change the words here. I have got to work. He has got to work. They have got to work. We can talk about now or tomorrow. Later is in the future, later today. And our modal must talks about necessity, but really like 100% necessity. I must work now. You must work tonight. They must work next week. All right. These are the rules that I explained on the previous page. We're going to go into our breakout rooms again. I'll give you a couple of minutes to work together. What I'd like for you to do is take a minute on page 3 here and review these 6 rules. So you can take turns to read one of the rules together. And after that, come on down to practice number 31. And if we have time, we might not have time right now for practice number 32. You can at least start on some of those sentences there. So take a couple of minutes with your group to read and review the rules for must, have to, and have got to. And then practice 31 and 32 with your groups. Any questions before we go into the breakout rooms? Okay, I will open the rooms. If you have any questions or problems in the room, then send me a message so I can come and help. All right, have fun.
No. No.
Must is a strongest form. We use must in requirements, rule, and law. We often
Laws.
use written instructions. You must take an entrance exam. School requirement. This example. Drivers must signal before they turn right or left. This is driver manual.
When must express necessity. we use it only to refer to the present or the future. To refer the past, we use had to. Correct. I had to work last Saturday. Incorrect. I must work last Saturday.
Why is not incorrect?
Because they say we only can use the past, huh? For the past, we must can't use that.
Okay.
Otherwise, must can be used for present or future situations. It cannot be used in past situation.
Yeah, they say we can use the present. There's no problem, and the future also. But for the past, we must use had to.
So if I use it for the present, I must work next week.
Yes, that's okay.
Yes.
You count for the last Saturday. If you say this Saturday, okay, next Saturday, okay.
Okay. Number 4.
Yes.
We usually use have to and have got to in everyday conversation. Have to and have got to have the same meaning. It's Saturday, but I have to work. It's Saturday, but I have got to work. I had to work last Saturday too. Had to it again in past situation.
Yes. Number 5. We do not usually use have got to in question and negative statements.
We use have got to only to refer to present and the future necessity. To refer to the past, we use had to. Correct. We had to finish this homework. Incorrect. We had got to finish this homework.
Okay.
Yes, okay.
The practice, search one. Or we revise the
change the right information with must from
Must
we have to
change the written information with must to a spoken form with have to and have got to. All students must register and pay fees. All students must have to register and pay fees. Otherwise, we must have.
This also can use have got to. That's no problem.
Yes.
Can't we say that all students must register and pay fee? Register yourself.
So for this sentence, the difference is that we use must for written information and written instructions. We use must in speaking as well, but it has like it's like very overpowering, like it's very, very strong. So it's more
Is it
common.
matter of formal and informal too?
Not maybe a little bit, but not necessarily. Have to and have got to are just a little bit more friendly, and it's just easier to say. It's easier to say it than it is to say must.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know if I can explain it other than it's easier. It's just more friendly and.
No, I got it.
Yeah. So in here, you're right. You're taking these written instructions, and it's like you're reading the rule. All students must register. So you're telling your friend, all students have to register.
Okay.
All students must register before taking courses. All the students have to register before taking courses.
Okay. Every student must take an English placement exam. Every student have to take an English placement exam.
Yes.
Every new student must attend orientation during registration week. Every new student have got to attend orientation during registration week.
Yes.
Yes.
Go up. No, only two left. Okay. Students must apply for parking permits
Permits.
during registration. Students have to apply for parking permits during registration.
Okay. Students must present registration form on the first day of the classes. Students have to present registration form on the first day of classes.
Yes, we finish. And everyone you saw, I put the chart, the message.
Yes.
Yes,
How
Okay,
can we pay? Or
All right. We'll wait a few more seconds for the other students to join, and then we'll move on. Okay. I'm going to share yet another link in the chat. There are just so many. So many today. All right, I'm going to share this link in the chat. And we're going to go back into our breakout rooms, but I wanted to give some instructions here first. Together in your small group, come up with some rules to make your city a better place using positive and negative modals of necessity. Generally, in writing, we use the modal must or must not. In speaking and conversation, it's more common to use have to and have got to. Because must is like so strong, it can be a little bit like forceful or powerful to say the word must. So we say have to or have got to. In writing or typing, in writing, have got to is so many words. And so we like to write shorter words if possible, fewer words if possible. So we see must more commonly in writing and have to, have got to more commonly in speaking. So this link is in the chat. And I'm going to open the breakout rooms again so that you can write down some rules for living in your city to make your city a better place. If you have any problems with this, send me a message. I'll come and help you out. All right, have fun.
Okay. Can you see?
Yes.
All right. think first. So Vanessa talked to us about using must, not using have to or have got to. We must.
I have no idea.
Okay, I have idea. For all of age, we must to able to learn free education.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Free education.
Free education. Great idea.
Because university is so expensive.
No. And
Free.
also preschool.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. I don't know how much cost of
Okay,
preschool.
I don't know if is okay.
Mhm.
The people must be more helpful with the other. You have to be more respectful with the different culture and idea from the other people. That's it. The other I
Right.
thinking.
Must. You must
Actions.
clean up on your front garden. Front yard. Front yard.
Clean up your garden.
Front garden. Front yard. I don't know.
Front,
I think front yard and backyard. Front yard.
front yard.
Rules. Oh no. The government must to be free the bridge toll.
Oh, okay. Good idea.
But it's not you, government.
How about same as the school, maybe hospital
Yes.
also free. I like free.
So we are now thinking
Exactly.
for government. It's a request for government.
Yeah. Must have to access to the health free or less account. It's too expensive.
Yes.
We must not to litter to anywhere.
Yes.
That's of course, right?
Yeah.
I don't have any idea.
It's difficult.
Yeah, difficult. Negative models to necessity. Yeah. All preschool, all schools should be free. Must be free.
Must.
Must be free.
Voila, it's gone. Voila, it's gone. You must pay the tax every year and then you must keep cleaning. Progress.
We will take a couple seconds for the other students to join, and then we will move on. All right. Okay, so I got to hear some different rules for creating a better community and a better city. We started our class today talking about advice for somebody who would want to visit Louisville. So I think these are two good ways to, or a good way to connect these two ideas. Advice is, our idea, our opinion about how someone should live their life, what they should do, the decisions they should make or the actions they should make. But it still is our opinion, right? And these city rules would be usually some things that we can't control, right? We can't control, we can't just change the rule if we don't like the law in the city that we live in. But we can sometimes imagine like a more perfect world if it was possible. What do you want the world to look like? So let's take a minute to go back to your journal from the very beginning of class. Find where you wrote your advice for people who will visit Louisville. I'd like you to take a minute, or a couple of minutes rather, to read what you wrote and see if you can change some of those sentences to use should or shouldn't, ought to, had better, have to, must for their visit to Louisville. So come on back to the journal that you wrote at the beginning of class. And just check your sentences again for the modal that you used in your advice sentences.
I only use should.
Okay.
Now I can change.
Now you can change and write something else instead. Did you use should and the base form of the verb? I found a few sentences that I could change a little bit to give better advice for someone visiting Louisville.
Kartiba. Kartiba.
All right. One of the reasons I like journaling as the practice, oh, I forgot to bring you the journal to show you. I'll bring it on Thursday. One of the reasons I love journaling as a way to practice the language is that we can do just that. We can practice writing and then we can come back a few hours later or the next day or the next week, and we can find our mistakes. We can check or change some things to have clearer communication. So that's why we journal a little bit every day, to practice putting our ideas into words. And the other part of that is to come back and check and change some things as you go, as you learn new things and practice, find your old mistakes and practice the new way of doing something. All right. Any questions about these modals of advice or recommendation or modals of necessity? Any questions? Questions are good. We like questions. Sometimes they're frustrating, but sometimes they're good. All right. At the beginning of class, I told you that on Thursday, we will take a quiz over all of the modals. And that's true. We will take a quiz, but we're going to do a little bit of practice for that quiz right now. So let me share another link in the chat. And I'll explain what we're doing on this paper here. We'll start this together in your groups, and then we'll do the rest for homework. And this will be probably very similar to the quiz that we take on Thursday's class as well. So this link is in the chat. The link is in the chat. We're going to read each sentence and find the modal in the sentence, and then identify that situation or the category for each one. So we'll use A for ability, N for necessity, PER for permission, POS for possibility, REC for recommendation or advice, and REQ for request. Sometimes depending on the context of the greater situation, we might have more than one possible answer. So as you're working together with your group, find the best answer or talk about why there may be more than one answer. So let's do a couple of them together. We'll do a couple in our small groups, and then the rest will be for homework today. So number one, may I use the telephone?
Permission.
We have may. And this is a question with may. So this one would be
It's request.
permission. Permission is usually asking for yourself to do something. The request is for someone else. Can she use the telephone? This one would be a request. It's basically the same thing. It just depends on who it comes from. Number two, we have can. Can I go to the movies?
Permission.
Is it not ability? No, sorry, permission. Sorry, it's permission.
Is it ability or permission?
No,
We can use
permission,
can for
permission.
both, right?
Permission.
Okay,
Next is
permission
ability.
is the best one. Why is this one not ability with can, number 2?
Next one is ability.
But how
Odd one.
come number 2? Why not ability?
I think for the verb, go. I don't know.
Okay, the verb go.
Mhm.
It's kind of a silly question to ask. Your own ability? Can I do something? You should know if you have the ability to do it, right? Generally speaking. Sometimes kids don't know their own abilities. They might ask if they're about their ability. Number 3, can you play the piano?
Ability.
Again, permission.
First,
Ability,
ability.
using A for ability. All right.
But also can quest, right?
It could also be a request. Yeah.
You can, we
Request,
can
yeah.
ask.
If your cousin is a fantastic piano player and there's a piano and you want him
Yes.
to play the piano for you,
Yeah.
yeah,
Can you
could
play the
ask,
piano?
can you play the piano? That would be a request. Yeah. My cousin is a very good piano player, so we ask him all the time, can you play the piano for us? And it never works. But if my grandmother, when she was with us, if she asked, every time he would say yes. But the rest of us, he never. He's like, no, later's fine. All right. So this link is in the chat. We'll spend a few minutes together with your small group, starting with number 4. You won't finish. There's so many. You won't finish this page, but work together to do as many as you can. The answers will be on the class website today. They are not there yet, but they will be there today, I promise you. So you'll be able to check them with the rest of your homework. All right, have fun.
Okay, number 4. Hello.
We may take a trip to France.
Possibility.
Recommendation.
Hey guys, which questions you are?
I think recommendation.
Recommendation. Okay.
Number 5.
My favorite team basketball team might win the game. Possibility.
Yeah, ability. Yeah, ability. That's good.
You must not cheat on the test.
A recommendation.
Yes. You should always do your homework.
That sounds
Request.
also, I think, recommendation. Necessary. Necessary, yeah.
Recommendation or request.
Yeah, number 6, you must not cheat on the test. This is not advice. Must
It's
not.
a recommendation.
It's a recommendation. It's the one for necessity. It's not a recommendation. It's necessity, right?
Okay.
Right. It is absolutely not allowed. You cannot cheat. You must not cheat on the test.
Necessary.
Could you please help me?
7. You should always do your homework.
You should always
Advice.
do. Yeah, advice.
Could you please help me?
It's request.
Request. Would you please loan me some money?
Is it a possibility?
Mhm. Can I have a hug?
Is it permission? Is it permission?
I think yes. This
It's
class
condition.
will finish soon.
A possibility?
Mm.
Yeah, it's class.
He has to find a new job.
Recommendation.
Last
Recommendation.
Yeah, recommendation. That's good.
Students are supposed to arrive on time for class. Advice.
Necessity?
Necessary.
Necessity.
Necessity. Okay. The weather should be nice tomorrow.
A possibility?
Mhm. Will you bring me a glass of water?
Requesting?
Request?
Yeah.
Okay. When he was young, he could play all day.
He was and he would play all day.
Ability.
Yeah, ability.
She how to clean the house.
She ought to.
Recommendation?
I think so.
Shall I open the door?
A permission?
Are you able to speak other language?
Think ability?
You think that English is easy, you must be crazy.
Possibility.
Possibility.
Must be is deduction. This one is a deduction.
Okay.
You're taking the information that you know. Usually we look at a lot of information, but you think English is easy. If that is true, then you must be crazy.
Oh. What's that?
That one is
Deduction.
17. How about 17?
17. She ought to clean the house. Ought to is the modal for advice or recommendation. Ought to. All right, you guys worked through this much more quickly than I expected, but great job. I didn't hear any others that were incorrect, but on your own, I would encourage you to go back to this page for homework and try them again, and then check your answers on the class website.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to close the breakout room and we'll go back with the rest of the students to wrap up our class today.
Okay.
okay. Thank you.
All right. Welcome back. We have a few students still in the breakout rooms. We'll let them join us and we'll wrap up our class for today. All right. Hong, did your group finish that page?
Yes, we finished all of them.
Okay. I thought it would take a lot longer, but y'all breezed right through that.
Still after we have 2-3 minutes time. Yeah.
Okay, good. I hope that you use that extra time to chat and talk and ask questions and not just sitting around waiting for something to happen.
When we learn on the class, we know how to use, but really when we talk, we suddenly we don't know how to use the word. We use the easy word.
And that's why we have to do homework, right? We have to do homework to find those places that we don't understand. And it's so different. Listening and reading are totally different skills, which is why you might understand it when I'm saying it, but when you actually see it and actually do it, it feels new all over again. So
yes, thank you.
That's why we do a million breakout rooms to get all of that practice in. and homework as well.
Thank you.
I have a question.
All right. Yes, Kazumi?
Number 20, would you mind advice to?
Yeah.
Number 20 is hard to recognize which part is a question.
Yeah. All right. So the instructions here, and this is a little bit misleading. I didn't write these instructions, but it says there may be some exceptions. There may be some exceptions, meaning some of these don't follow these different categories here. And number 20 is an exception. Number 20 says, you think that English is easy? You must be crazy. And we looked at using must today for necessity, right? That obligation, 100% yes. But remember that we can also use must, usually with the be verb. We can also use must for making a deduction. Making a deduction is looking at a lot of information and coming up with one idea.
Possibility, yeah.
It's not possibility. It's not possibility because we're making this idea based on information we can see. Possibility says maybe yes, maybe no. I don't know. Maybe yes, maybe no.
Yeah, like we are guess. Yeah, crazy,
It
but we are
is
not really crazy.
a deduction is a guess, but it's a guess based on real information that we have. So for number 20, we don't have a lot of information, but if someone says English is easy, what do you think about them? You're thinking, no way, English is so great, it's so difficult. If you think English is easy, you must be crazy. I don't agree with this sentence, but you might.
And how do you think? Do you think there's nationality?
For number 20, the answer is deduction. This is a deduction.
But deduction, that's a deduction, that's the possibility. Inside have the deduction, right?
A deduction is not possibility.
Deduction, that's the one kid. It's just a one, like a required like the that's the also one. They only have 6, right?
Is like conclusion, deduction.
A conclusion. What do you mean, Hong? It only has 1.
No, you only have, like you say, have the nationality and the possibility, ability, right? They totally have 6. And this is a 1, number 7.
Yeah, it says here, and because I didn't think you were going to finish this, there may be some exceptions.
Oh, that's number 7.
Number 7, yeah, is number 20, the exception. Zara, do you have a question too?
11 and 13.
Number 13.
And 11.
11 and 13.
Yeah.
This class will finish soon. Okay. We didn't practice with will. This class will finish soon. Oh, this is another exception.
Oh, we think that's a possibility.
No, this is simple future tense.
Wow. That's number 8 come out. 6.
Okay, option number 8.
Yes.
Number 13, students are supposed to arrive on time for class. This is another exception that doesn't follow are supposed to. It doesn't follow one of these 6 reasons here, 6 different categories.
It's a recommendation.
It's be supposed to.
Just necessary recommendation in the middle. That's the soft way talk and necessary. Like
No,
had
so
to.
this phrase, let's see, this phrase here, be supposed to, plus another verb has a specific meaning. And off the top of my head, be supposed to meaning.
Like should.
Advice.
It's not quite should. This expresses expectation. Expectation. So something you expect to happen in the future, or something you expect other people to do. It's not exactly the same as advice. I would call this one another exception as well.
I think that's a necessary or recommendation.
It's maybe closer to necessity. Students are supposed to arrive on time. That's the expectation of the teacher. Maybe that's the rule for
They
the
only
school.
didn't say must, but almost close a must.
Right, because it does not use must, so it's not necessity, but this be supposed to expresses expectation. We're supposed to do a lot of things, but we don't do it, right? We're supposed to exercise every day. I don't exercise every day. People are supposed to drink a lot of water. I drink a lot of coffee. So this expectation
This
is
is the
maybe
number 9 now.
in the perfect world, right? Would you loan me some money?
And we use supposed to for past.
No, again, even though there's the ed here, we're going to follow the main verb, or the first verb here, are. This would be present tense.
No. In general, we can use supposed to for past or not.
Yeah, you can. I was supposed to start class at 9 o'clock, but I was late for class. I was supposed to.
Thank you.
Okay. I will put these answers on the class website, and I will put an explanation for those ones that are the exception to these. I really didn't think you were going to get that far today, so I wasn't totally prepared for that. But check the class website, and we'll come back and review this page a little bit on Thursday as well. So with that, are there any other questions or comments about our topics for today's class?
Yeah, Lensa, when you say, would you like to go to shopping? And in this sentence, would, what's the meaning of would? Would you like?
It's a request.
It's a request?
Would you is going to be the request. It might be like a request for information. Yeah, you're asking someone for information. Would you like to? Would you not like to? There's a yes or no.
And when we say, I would like to go to shopping, what's the meaning of would in here?
So using would in the expression would like does have a different meaning. All right, thank you, no problem. So would like has a different meaning than just would with another verb. It expresses, I guess just expresses like interest or desire to do something. Would like to is like, I want to. Right. I know we're past 12 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and sign off here. Zara, if you have more questions, send me an email, okay?
It's okay. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you, everyone.